Hello, welcome to the Physique Mastery Podcast. This is Scott Tuzna, along with Brian Cron. And today, once again, we're joined by a guest, Becky Eschmann, another one of our incredible, very inspiring and enthusiastic, oozes positive energy member of the Physique Mastery Movement group there. I kind of building you up there. Yes!
I have my pom-poms right here.
Pom-poms. I love it. No, we actually had the great honor, privilege of training with Becky out in Kansas City at the fitness summit there back in May. So it was great connecting with you in person, but it's been really great getting to know you in our support community. And one of the things that I love so much about you is that you aren't afraid to ask questions. You love asking questions. And something that Brian and I talk a lot about is the impact that experienced coaching, like having an experienced coach versus a kind of somewhat newer coach, like a seasoned veteran to the game, brings a lot more to the table. I find new coaches in this arena, they're great at building plans. I find I see a lot of great plans out there, but Brian and I really pride ourselves on building systems and how each plan kind of builds into each other, feeds off of each other strategically, and we have a big picture outlook. Whereas we find a lot of the other newer coaches to the game tend to look in snapshots, and they're just, this sounds like an awesome plan, I'm going to give this to a client. This sounds like an awesome plan, I'm going to give this to a client. And it's all great plans, but there's a big difference between that and having a lot of strategy involved and really looking along the road ahead of us and how each plan is going to feed into each other. So experience coaching, that's where we like to address the kind of questions that you answer. When we string together a run of programs, you're like, well, why do we make these changes? Why are we only doing subtle changes now? And why do we make a big change this time? So we love that our group is full of people who are curious about these kinds of things, because we put a lot of thought into our designing and the big picture outlook. So we're going to let you roll with this in the beginning here and kind of give the people a taste of the kind of questions that you like to ask us in the community. So if you want to just roll with some of the questions that you have for us here regarding especially programming in general.
Yeah, well, when you were talking about the systems and how they build well, to back up for a second. So I never really had a full, true understanding of bulking and cutting and hypertrophy and all these terms. So when I joined Physique Mastery in February, you guys were throwing around all these terms. Everybody was either bulking or cutting. And I was sort of knew what that was, but I'm like, what am I doing? I think I'm going to cut, but I don't really know what that is. And I was actually I didn't really want to ask because I felt kind of stupid, but I knew the way that your programs changed month to month. It had to have something to do with that. And you were doing it for a reason and changing the reps and changing the sets and the 100 reps and the way that it was building, I knew that there was a reason for it. I'm just never really sure why. How do you do that with so many different people with different goals? First of all, I guess that would be the first question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a hard question.
And that is the thing, because we definitely have people within the group who are building, following our plans and building, and others who are following the same plans and cutting. There are times, like the beginning of the year, the new year, we found that there was a lot of members who were cutting. So the vast majority of people are like, all right, boom, new year, want to get in shape. All right, so if the majority of us are cutting, let's really build a solid 12 to 16 week plan that really focuses on that process in general. So when we know we got a vast majority of people, we can really focus on a specific group. And I think in that sense, when it comes to fat loss, we really look at people's energy reserves, and so what we ended up doing for January, February, and March was each month we would increase the reps, decrease the rest periods, increase the reps, decrease the rest periods. We increased volume over time as well. That's the thing. There's a couple of increase and decrease, but basically working with your energy reserves, because in the beginning everyone has more energy reserves, so they can lift heavier loads. They're stronger. They have their strength at that point. But as your energy reserves decrease, as you're getting deeper into the cut, it's tougher to lift those heavier loads. So we tend to go with safer movements and higher reps, shorter rest, lighter weight. So decrease the rest, decrease the load, increase the reps, and increasing overall total volume as well through exercises that are easier on you, like isolation type exercises. But in general, most programs can be used for fat loss or muscle building. There's not a lot of change that you can make, that you have to make to it. But if you know for certain that someone is going through a cutting phase, that's exactly what you would do. Is as they're progressing, as they're getting deeper, you would decrease the reps. Decrease the rest.
Yeah. I mean, these quad sets we're doing right now, these are great because you can apply those for both. Like they're great for fat loss, obviously, and they're great for hypertrophy too. It's just you just change your diet accordingly. And
so what goes into like that planning where you're like, okay, we're gonna do quad sets. Like what's going on? What are you guys thinking about there?
Changed. I'd say that was a shock more than anything. Yeah. This was a shock to the system, not only in a technique that our members haven't used before, but the volume is exceptionally high as well. So we were, it was basically a shock and awe kind of mentality as we were approaching this. Like something completely different that we had ever experienced before, and very challenging. It was really going to challenge us. So, it seemed to be good timing for everyone coming off of the summer months and ready to get at it right now. So kind of just looking at the previous programming that we did and all leading up to this kind of moment.
So how far in advance do you guys like meet and think it out? Like you said in the beginning that it's all like it's building on top of each other.
Yeah. So we know the big picture. Like we have a big picture where we're going to follow a certain split. So the January, February, March programs, we had a split in mind, the 3-day split that we knew we were going to follow. We knew we were going to be increasing the reps, decreasing the rest, all that kind of stuff. So we knew those types of things. Then it's just a matter of, well, what intensity technique are we going to use? So we had the big picture for each of the 3 months, but then we'll each month leading up to the plan, like a few weeks before we're going to record the workouts, it's all right, what kind of intensity technique do you want to throw in here this month? What exercise are we going to keep in here? Like you probably noticed for the past 4 or 5 months, we kept deadlifts in there because we want to keep certain things in there all the time to give members something to really progress on. And we kept the deadlift the exact same rep range and just technique. We really wanted people to really kind of master the technique over several months within a certain rep range there. So there's certain staples that you'll keep in there, and then it's just like changing it an intensity technique. Like instead of the 100 rep set one month, we might do myo rep sets another month, or we might do a disgusting set the following month. So make subtle little changes there, and just maybe swap a few exercises in and out. So we have a big picture vision in mind and some techniques in mind, but then we'll look at how the members are responding to certain exercises. Like we weren't so sure about the deadlifts until we started seeing everyone posting their form check videos in the support community. Like, how's my form look on this deadlift? And like after 1 month, if we were to swap it out, they're like, oh my God, we're just starting to feel it now. And then the second month, they're able to bump up the weight a little bit. And they're like, all right, now I'm really in the groove. Now, okay, well, why take it out now? Let's keep rolling with it. And then you get to a point where like, all right, I'm starting to feel a little beat up from this. Let's switch it up. So we change from deadlifts to RDLs and good mornings, exercises that can complement the deadlift. So again, that was all knowing that we were going to get people to progress on the deadlift, knowing that people are going to eventually kind of burn out from it, need a break from it, and then having those complementary exercises to include afterwards that will help improve your deadlift afterwards.
Okay, you guys. So I have a really important question.
Yeah.
I want to hear, and I'm putting all my pride out there because I'm going to sound like an idiot right now, but like I want to know your best definition. Help me understand what exactly hypertrophy is. Go.
Building muscle.
That's it.
Muscle
That's
size.
it?
Yeah.
Not any more complicated
No.
than that?
Well, I'm sure we could, but I mean, I can pull up the book.
No, but yeah, it's basically hypertrophy is that you're trying to gaining muscle.
But isn't it what you're always doing though? I mean, you're always building. Aren't we always building muscle?
That's it. Well, again, during our cutting phases,
you're not building
the goal
a
isn't
muscle.
building muscle at that point. Like maintaining muscle mass is an important factor, and managing muscle damage, recovery, managing your recovery more than anything is a huge thing when you're going through a cutting phase. We're not looking to build muscle during that. We're looking at exercises that you can handle safely as you're going through it while maintaining your muscle mass. The chances of any of us really gaining muscle during a cutting phase is minimal, unless you're a newbie, and we don't have really any new people in our group. Very rare. I think Dennis may have been an exception, but he was coming into this pretty new in the beginning or detrained. Yeah. So there's very few people who will experience that. So hypertrophy is a goal, muscle building is a goal, but it's not. Some people their focus is on strength. They're just looking to get stronger, and you may experience some muscle growth there, but hypertrophy, that's the sole focus. Is we want to get big.
So like in August, like last month's plan, you remember when I said I was concerned because I was really driven on cutting fat, and I'm like, I kept feeling like I should be adding in a lot more cardio or playing with the reps more, because I believe we were doing 5 sets of 5 mostly. Is that right, August? And I was concerned. I was like, but this is more of a hypertrophy or strength. Like, I don't want to bulk up. I don't want to get bulky. I want to do fat loss. And you guys were like, no, it's okay. It's all like in your diet, right?
Yes. So
yeah.
The 5x5, that's a strength focused workout. So what we did with that split, we had a strength focused day and a hypertrophy focused day. So I find I can manage recovery really well when I split up. When I walk into the gym and I know all I'm going to be doing is lifting some heavy shit, and then the next day I go in and I know all I'm going to be doing is doing pump work here. So when I walk in the gym, it's pump work. I'm like, fucking right, I can give her today and crank it out. And when you're in a cutting phase, those pump type workouts are easier to get through. If you're doing a 5x5 throughout a cutting phase, it's still a great strategy to have in place there. It can help preserve the muscle mass, but you're not going to have the same kind of, like if someone's in maintenance mode or building mode, going through 5x5, they're going to be able to progress in strength from week to, maybe not week to week, but they're going to see some progress there in their strength.
Got it.
Whereas if you're in a deficit, you're trying to hit the numbers, but you're not looking at, you're going to be lucky to kind of hold the weight that you're lifting from week to week. But it's still a good program to follow. You're just not going to see the same kind of impact. You're not going to have the same kind of energy and strength to get through the workout as if you were eating more food, if you're more fed.
Yeah, I'm really noticing that you have to just allow some of your goals to kind of slip through the cracks, because unbeknownst to me, I was bulking all summer. I didn't really realize that's what I was doing.
It's when you drink wine and eat a lot of cheese, and all of a sudden it becomes a bulk.
You're living life.
But man, I was killing it at the gym, and I'm like every couple of days, I'm like, I'm going up. My weights are going up. Like I'm killing this. So now for the past 5 weeks that I've really been in a calorie deficit, I've had to really check my ego at the door when I go to the gym, because my weights, I mean, my lateral raises, I was doing 15, 20, pound dumbbells. And I'm down to like 7.5 sometimes because I just don't have it in me. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's just you got to trade, it seems like you got to trade one for the other.
You really take advantage of when you're in a fed state. And that's the beauty of like when you are, and I hate the word bulking. We're never really bulking. We don't encourage.
So what's bulking? Is that like a football player?
It's not. Bulking, I guess, is reserved for a term where you're like in an excess.
You're gaining weight. You're getting weight without any regard for composition. You just want to see the scale go up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not in this group. We're really not ever bulking. We're doing like more hypertrophy strength, or we're cutting.
We're building, maintaining, or slowly building. A slow build is a little different than, like Brian said, a total disregard for. I'm just going to keep pigging out like crazy and gain.
Okay, got it.
We build intelligently.
Like the only people who should be bulking are typically young men.
Okay.
Young, thin, like kind of athletic or like ectomorphic men.
Okay. Got it.
It's just the ratio of fat to muscle that you put on, especially once you get past like 25, is just not acceptable.
Okay.
So no, we don't. I don't think we have anyone in the group who's like full on bulking.
No.
I don't think we do.
People are pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, keeping things in check for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Yeah. So you experience what it's like it's a whole different ballgame when you're walking in the gym fed compared to in a deficit. So you experience this, and this is why, like, you see the weight going down naturally. Why not work with that? Why follow a program that is going to fight against your body? Like, design a program that's going to work with your body as it's going through these changes. So accept that the weight's going to go down. And
that's our whole thing. It's just when you're trying to get smaller, lose body fat, you're eating less. So we try to tailor the programs to take advantage of, or to take advantage of not having as much energy, not having as much jam. Just so you're not chasing big weights. You're moving quicker, moving faster, more reps. That tends to work better for most people when they're on limited calories because they can kind of just get in the zone and just kind of rifle through it.
Yeah. So today I did chest, shoulders, back day, and I'm in the zone. I'm feeling good, and then I start to by those. There's a superset in there with shoulder presses and lateral raises, and I start to feel pretty depleted. And at that time, I start kind of overthinking. Okay, should I shoot more lateral raises, for example? Should I shoot more for 15 reps at 7.5 pounds, or I can go 10 pounds and get about 8 in, which, or does it really matter that much?
Yeah, it does. It does for that in particular. Like, we're looking at, I think for the lateral raises might have been like a 12 to 15.
12 to 15, yeah.
Yeah, so you start with that, and then you bust into shoulder press. So we're trying to pre-exhaust the shoulders a bit with the lateral raises. So you want it nice and light. You want to have a good focused pump on the shoulders. And then you're busting into the shoulder press, which is, I think, 6 to 8 reps. So you can challenge yourself with that heavier load. So the whole idea, we want you going lighter and in that higher rep range.
Okay, cool. Then I did it because I was able to do like 40 pound with the presses, 40 pound barbell, which is pretty good for me.
Oh, okay.
I was hoping you weren't going to say dumbbells because that's...
Sounds like... Okay. I was going to say 40 pound lateral raise. I'm like, okay. Great bench. Okay.
No, I do the 40 pound, and it was really tough. And then go to those lateral raises, and like I said, it was, again, the ego. I'm like, wow, I'm grabbing 7.5 pounds. It's tough, but I figured if I can get to 15 with 7.5 pounds, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the idea, right?
Use the weight that the weight is really insignificant. Really, it's whatever you're using to get whatever you need to use to get to that point of muscle fatigue. It's the right weight for you.
God, it's so simple. It's weird.
It's
People like to make it really complicated.
I know. I'm an overthinker. I heard the last podcast with Marcy, and she was saying how she overanalyzes. I'm like, I think there's a lot of us that are like fitness buffs that just overanalyze everything, and it's like it really doesn't need to be that way.
No, there's so much. There's a lot too. I know Brian really geeked out on programming recently too, and you can really freaking.
Yeah.
It's unreal what's out there and what you can really do with programming. So it is fun to kind of geek you out on it and understand how it all feeds off of each other. So it's good to be curious like you are.
I prefer to keep. I try not to geek out on eating. Like nutrition, I try to keep that really simple.
Okay. Yeah.
Geek out on the programming a bit, but that's my personal kind of bias. But
well, because it seems like the Physique Mastery group, what I would always, for years and years, I just was sort of going through the motions of like, a 4-day split, upper body, lower body, lower body, not really knowing what I was doing, or switching to like more of a CrossFit based. And then, I do switch to like full body. And then when I started with you guys, what it seems like you guys do is you kind of start to chisel. Like you chisel, if you've got a good base, it's like you chisel away, right? And you're like the delts and the calves, and that you get really, really specific, which is why it's not for the beginner. Is that right? Is that sort of like your...
Well, there's... there's certain... We have kind of like programming biases. There's certain things that you address them even on like a recreational lifter, they get a pretty fast return, and it makes a difference on their physique. Especially on a female, if you get their shoulders just a little bit of size, makes a dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Obviously glutes and quads as well. And you bring body fat down, and things start to happen. So we do kind of play that into the programming a bit. I think we do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
But there's lots going on. I mean, I guess we got to take it for granted because we've been doing it for so long. But there's little things that you just work into programming that addresses very needs that most people have. Like most people got to get a little bit leaner, and then they'll look a lot better. And most women need a little bit more shoulders, a little bit more quads. Most guys need more shoulders and more arms. God, they need more arms. And it's just like things like that, as opposed to just squatting and benching and deadlifting and wondering why they look like a bag of shit after 5 years. You gotta. That came out wrong. But just.
Speaking of more arms, it's very noticeable in our program right now where you have the arm days. We have specified arm days. We're even throwing them on leg days, but they're also getting worked on back in and chest days, and so our arms and shoulders definitely get hit with some extra stimulation for sure.
Then
I love it.
Yeah, then you go back to the basic stuff, though. Like, there's nothing wrong with just doing the basics, but then you can't always just do the basics. You got to build on that. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's going to be fun. So right now we know, we're crushing the volume. We got the quad sets. We're challenging people. They're sucking wind. And we know, again, like it's temporary. This is something that as much as people love, they're going to get to a breaking point. And so then we got to dial things back. And
why do you feel like you have to dial it back?
Oh, you just can't sustain it. That's when you start running into burnout, injury risk.
Already the bigger guys, like I've already tapped out. I'm beat up. Jay's beat up. So it's always the stronger people who get beat up first, and then typically, so yeah. Okay. So you gotta start dialing things back because
you just can't handle it. And that's why we say this was a shock. This was definitely meant to just shock the hell out of our bodies and challenge the members in a way they haven't been challenged before, and knowing that we'll have to pull back, but it's a nice little exposure because those types of things can really you need that kind of extra volume there. Well, even physiologically, really hammering your body with this kind of volume will increase the myonuclei within your muscles. More myonuclei in the muscles, the greater potential for muscle growth. So can get a little technical with all that crap, but
I like it.
You can
I
really
need these more bionuclei, homie.
every once in a while you really need to freaking blast it, but then you need to pull things back afterwards. Less volume like during a workout, but more frequent stimulation. So we are always manipulating the frequency and volume there. So it's always fun.
Okay, well that definitely explains all the change month to month.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's times where people like we've had lower volume workouts and some members like, whoa, is this enough? Like, oh my god, I'm used to doing more. And these are usually people are used to like hammer, and you can't keep that pedal to the metal. And then they go through a month or two of just a little bit of lower volume, and my body's responding so well. It's amazing. And it's just it's all, and that's basically where coaching comes into play. A lot of people they're into they're creatures of habit. They're so used to pushing it. They see other people crushing it. They go all the time, and we're to say, all right, now it's time to dial back. And then other people are used to dialing back. We're like, all right, time to freaking let's floor it. Let's really give her at this moment. So knowing kind of when to encourage those little moments, the ebbs and flows there.
Okay, that's why there's more rest in this month. Like you have I noticed it's like a day, like 2 days, and then rest, and then
right? Yes, because the amount of volume in each workout is pretty significant. Where you need to take that time off. So depending on your split, there's times where you could have a body part split and you hammer that muscle group. It's going to take a lot longer for you to recover. So you have to kind of space the time between. Here we're hitting multiple groups with high volume in one workout, so you gotta have a day off in there. But for those who like to be in the gym more frequently, like myself, we'll go in and we'll do some of the accessory lifts like abs, calves, forearms. I even did a little inner outer thighs today. It's just rear delts can get hit with a disgusting set. Like you can still get in the gym if you want to, just working those little accessory movements that aren't going to hinder your recovery.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's definitely me. I need to be there about 6 days a week, I think it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
good fun. All right, so now let's tell. I want to know, what have you've been with us since February? It's been a joy. What have been some of the things that you've learned? Like, what have been some of the big aha moments for you during this time that we've had together?
Oh my gosh, there's been so many. I mean, a lot of what we just talked about, right? So we talked about a lot of workouts, but I hope it's okay to discuss, like, honestly, like the nutrition part. It's just been a lot of learning for me. So, I feel like there seems to be a trend, at least with the people that I was following, where, there's like, they instill this fear in you, like, oh, you got to feed the muscle. Like, don't eat so little. Like, you got to eat. If you want the, like, get your protein in. Like, so I had all these messages that I didn't realize, like, in my head. And so I was just like this robot trying to meet these numbers, not getting the results I wanted, not paying attention to even if I was hungry or not. And you guys were some of the first guys, well, Brian, I worked kind of with you before, so I knew this before, but you guys are really into, like, just like, relax. Like, it's okay to eat less. You might not, be at 1564 like the calculation tells you. You got to play around with what your numbers are. And as you guys know, like, I just decided, in August, early August, I was like, what, to hell with this. I'm just going to, like, not on purpose, but I'm just, like, drastically cut and just kind of my calories and see what happens. I'm still going to eat lean protein. I'm still going to eat a lot of veggies and fruits and things like that because they make me feel good. And I want to, I don't know. I feel better when I'm eating stuff not out of a package. That was the only reason. And wow, I'm 10 pounds down. And, I feel amazing. I don't feel hungry. I don't feel crabby. I'm sleeping great. Like, my workouts, they suffer a little bit, but.
So you're not really counting. You're just eating lean proteins, fruits, veggies, not, eating when you're hungry.
eating the same damn thing, Brian Cron style, every day. But it doesn't bother me. Like I said on the when I messaged Scott earlier, I said it's a James Clear phrase. Who I love him. Yeah. He's like, you got to get comfortable with boredom, and I keep telling myself that. And I think to a level, you got to get comfortable with being a little hungry. People are so scared to feel hungry. Mm-hmm. You know, like, oh, I got to go eat. You know, I got to eat. Or like me, who was like, you know, Body for Life years ago. It's 2 hours. I got to eat. It's been 2 hours. I have to eat 6 times a day. I got to get my protein in. You know, I just chilled on all that, and I eat, you know, the steel cut oats and some egg whites in the morning. And, you know, sometimes I measure and weigh. Sometimes I don't. Usually I don't, because I kind of get it now, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah. Lots of baked chicken breast, lots and lots and lots of veggies. You know, I don't know. And like, you know, Scott, you've talked before about how sometimes you just have to stick with it until it clicks for you. Yeah. Like, you know, like almost like you got to wait till kind of that magic happens, you know? Yeah. And for me, it was like 4 or 5 days and starting to see some results, feeling good, sleeping great, good energy. And I'm like, I'm just going to do this. I haven't had any trouble. So I don't know. Wow. It's like magic.
So that is a big aha moment, learning lesson that we aren't a calculator. Like we aren't this, we can't, just because you plug your numbers in this calculator thing, that it's, that I should be able to eat that. And you hear other people, oh my God, it's scary. I see, especially in regards to women, they say, oh, I'm eating 1,400 calories, and they get attacked. Oh no, that's not enough. You're gonna starve, and it's
you're gonna starve.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how attacked I would get. You know, people knew that I'm eating about 1,200 calories a day right now. Yeah. I'm 5'9". I'm 43 years old. If I had eaten this much 10 years ago, I feel like I would have lost a lot more. But it just, I don't know. It's working for me.
Yeah. You know, eventually you'll probably want to bring it up a bit, but it's accomplishing what you want it to do, and you feel good, and you're getting results. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're not having to obsess about it.
No, and I don't feel like oh my God, in my mind I was always like, if I don't eat enough, I'm going to binge. They say I'm going to binge. And so I just was like, just always scared that I was going to binge and gain everything back. And I have not ever felt like I was going to binge, you know? Yeah. There's a real trend about, you know, with eat more, feed the muscle. You got to eat more than that. You got to eat more than that, whether you want to or not. And I don't know. I just feel like it's not, for me, it's not true.
Yeah. No, you just gotta, and again, it's temporary. It's temporary right now. You got a goal, and 1,200 calories works for you. You work that goal, and as you're getting leaner and leaner, you'll probably find that you'll want to slow down the fat loss just a little bit, and you can bump up those calories just a little bit. Then you hit your goal, then you can bump your calories up to maintenance level and find where maintenance is for you, and it's going to be different for everyone. So that's a fun game in of itself.
Well, just people will get so obsessed with that number. They'll hear, oh my God, she's only eating 1,200 calories. And they didn't hear the whole preamble that you said before that, because I'm sitting here thinking, you're eating more than 1,200. You're just not really counting. You actually meticulously counted, you're probably eating 1,400, 1,500, probably. But it's just like, maybe you don't really care.
Exactly. It's working.
That's why I've stopped having these discussions on Facebook, because people get so obsessed with the number, and then you point out to them, well, did you know that these numbers that you're so obsessing with, like, they're kind of estimates, and then you factor in your own expenditure, and everything gets really, really murky. So there's all this wiggle room. So is it really wise to be obsessed, like right down to the exact calorie, and then people blow up at you, and because it's working for me, but it's like, okay, but it's not working for the reasons that you think. You think you control your metabolism like you're this master, when in reality it's controlling you. Like, so anyway, I just like the way that you're doing it. Like, you're listening to your body, you're building your diet around good foods. You're not obsessing. Like, obsessing alone will make you hungrier.
Yeah.
Just like you said, oh my God, I'm gonna binge. If you're always thinking oh, if I don't eat more, I'm going to binge. Guess what? You're going to fucking, pardon my language, you're going to binge at some point. So it's, you reduce the stress, you reduce the overanalyzing, and you find your kind of your own way of traveling. Anyway, that's my soliloquy. That's how I roll.
Structure, a little bit of boredom, a little bit of hunger, doing all the right things.
And not be, you know, another thing, people are so like obsessed with don't deprive yourself. Well, I don't know why, but for me, I do better not eating any sweets. I just do. I used to think, you know, I have to have 2.3 ounces of chocolate chips every night or I'm going to crave chocolate chips. Yeah. And I'm not eating any of that right now. And I don't really care. If I want it, sure, I'll have a little bit, but I don't feel deprived and I'm not like worrying about being deprived. I guess I'm just sort of, adding a little bit more intuitive eating and doing what I want to do instead of following all these rules that people kind of tell you have to do.
It's very easy to make, you know, all these rules. You think you have this system then, when really you've just built this very elaborate prison that you can't navigate in the real world with.
For sure. You know? Yeah.
So,
I've been both sides. Like my wife, naturally, she has a little treat every day. She can have 2 cookies. She always has, and that's good for her. And when I initially first started my initial body transformation 6-7 years ago, I found that if I had just 2, I would go nuts. I had to have the whole bag. That's when I would plan, all right, I can't have anything, no treats for several days, and then I'll treat myself. And then I slowly but surely, as I got better, like that worked for me at that time. And then I'm like, you know what? I can handle a treat a little bit better here. And then as I was able to have it more frequently, then I went through a period where I'm like, I can have a small treat every single day. And then I got to the point where I'm like, I don't need a treat every day. More intuitive. Like if I don't need one today, why force myself to have a treat just because I'm flexible dieting?
Exactly.
You have it when you want it, and don't have it when you don't want it. It's as simple as that.
And life changes. I mean, like when I had my son, I was very emotional about that, and I was just eating ridiculous, making terrible food choices because I wasn't. Yeah. You know, just because emotions change, everything can affect like your hunger drives, your hunger signaling. So like you have to be mindful of your stress levels and what's going on in your life, and it's not just a freaking number that you have to hit. So
it's pretty freeing. It's pretty freeing to, you know, just sort of, I don't know, get up and know what I'm going to eat that day and not be kind of locked down, like you said, the prison of like what I feel like I should do. I'm just kind of doing what works for me and, you know, working 5 weeks. So
very good. It's exciting to see.
Yeah.
Very awesome. Yeah. Very good. Well, thanks for joining us today, Becky. This has been awesome. Really enjoyed having you on. Love having you in the group. Great questions for us. I hope people listening to our show have gained some insights and enjoyed the conversation here.
Yes.
Thanks, you guys.
All right. Have yourself a great day, and we'll catch you guys next time on the next episode of the Physique Mastery Podcast.